Hey boys and girls, it's KnightStalker here. Welcome along today to Season 11 PTR Preview. Check it out. We're not going to muck around, we're going to try and do this real quick today. So the first thing I know that everybody wants to see is these brand new units. Unfortunately, we don't have the Tier 5, the T5 Cav, the Gold Cav. They're just not ready for showcasing yet. The unit's just not quite functional as the developers hoped, so we're not going to get to see that today. That leaves us with the Banner Knights and the Alchemists. The Alchemists, I can't really show you any combat because they obviously are designed to fight in a 15 versus 15, and I can still show you their abilities, and we'll see how they work. The first one is your Smoke Bomb. Basically, this temporarily slows down enemy units and reduces the accuracy of firearms. Nice and simple, right? Healing Hands, they basically set up a little circle and they heal units around them. So nice and simple. How far can you throw smoke, do you think? Well, roughly about that far. It doesn't last very long. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 5 seconds, yeah? The other thing is you can't throw it like the Shinjis up onto the balconies and things like that, and even throwing it off is pretty dicey, simply because it doesn't have the nice high arc like the Shinjis do. I'll show you real quick. We've got like 5 seconds left to wait. There we go. And if you try and throw it up like that, you just end up chucking it into the wall. Simple as that. And they do clip, these little smoke bombs. They clip quite nicely, so if you're standing here and you throw them here, half of them will hit. The other one's nice and simple. Go to a point and set up a healing. See how big this, set up a healing camp. See how big that, that circle was? I mean, it's pretty darn big. So these can be quite effective. Very similar to the sort of thing that you'll get from the bagpipes. Moving right along to keep this video nice and short, because I haven't got a heap of stuff to show you today. It's the Banner Knights. Now the Banner Knights do some really cool stuff. In combat I would judge them to be, just from what I've seen, the very few limited amount of stuff I've seen, they look to be about the same power as Men-at-Arms. Yeah. However, they do have some cool abilities. Plant the banner. If you plant the banner, you get 30 seconds worth of 200 extra armor. That is brilliant, and it's also a nice large circle, approximately the same as the Alchemists. This one here, Indomitable, when you trigger that, depending on what formation you're in, you will get different abilities. So Dispersed is 100 extra damage, Guard formation, extra 300 defense, and of course that will stack with the number 1 ability as well. And while you're in Column, all damage will be increased by 500 points. There's Column, there's Guard, and there is Dispersed. Charge, self-explanatory. Now the thing about when you use this number 1 ability is, though it's quite clunky, it takes a while to plant, but your hero can pick it up. 3, 2, 1, 0, minus 1, about 4 seconds to pick it up, and then you're going to get some new abilities. This one here, To Glory, basically it's very similar to the Clash of Charge ability that you see me using with a longsword, except it's got a massive wind up, a few seconds wind up. And this one here is Rally Troops, nice big burst effect, and you get a whole bunch of good stuff, as you can see there. This one just means drop it. So you can use it like a weapon. Doesn't last all that long. And we might just cut here and skip to when I've got the banner available again. Okay, we'll get our banner ready again. One thing to notice, that one specific guy at the front holding the banner, he can be individually killed, and if he is killed, the unit has to go back to the supply point to get a new banner. For now, let's just quickly show you, and we'll try and pick it up. So I'm going to, as soon as I hit F, I'm going to try and walk backwards. So F, and you'll see how long it takes me to pick it up when I start walking backwards. Clunky as hell. Okay, so we're going to do the charge in 3, 2, 1, press. Watch how long it takes me to charge. They'll charge with me. It's one of the things of the ability, but look how long it takes to wind up. So to get the banner, plant the banner, pick up the banner, and charge is something like 10 seconds. It's not something you can do quickly. You have to be behind your own units or have a massive wind up. Anyway, let's just show you what they do real quick. they'll just start hacking away at the enemy. As you can see, they make short work of the training room mobs, and they're only doing sort of 1,500 to 2,500, so I would have expected more out of a T4 unit. However, this is early days, and I can't comment on them yet. I haven't used them extensively. We're just here today to show you all of the lovely bits and pieces. So let's move on to see the veterancy lines and things like that. We'll plant this banner one more time and you can see what happens then. So we'll plant the banner. See how they're not aggressive? That's the other thing. They're not aggressive. You have to tell them to be aggressive with the V key, especially when they stack up and things like that. And even after a charge, it's quite hinky. You've got to tell them to attack separately. Hopefully they tidy that up. This is not the final release of the version of the units, and some changes are inevitable, as we've seen in other seasons before they get released. Anyway, without further ado, let's get on to talk about some of the veterancy lines. Let's go. Okay, so here we have the Oriflamme Guards, or the Banner Knights if you will. Let's have a quick look at their veterancies. This is the first time I'm seeing it, so work with me. Got some extra health, that's nice. Extra movement speed, that's nice. And both of those are mandatory, obviously. Slashing defense, charge cooldown, slashing damage, health, piercing damage, and Indomitable grants a brief movement boost that rapidly decays over 3 seconds. So that's interesting. So if you want to do a short range charge, I guess it's pretty useful. Movement speed, block break, and reduced damage. Interesting. This one here, we've got resistance to ranged, all types of damage, all blunt defense with damage, yep. Some more health, slashing defense, and all defenses by 20%. I think that might actually be worth looking at. I think that might be just as viable. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you're going to give up this to get this. Depends what you think, man. Let's have a look at the alchemists. Alchemists. There we are. So here they are, having a slouch against the wall there. So, and again, this is the first time I'm seeing this as well. So let's have a look together. Health by 3%, slashing damage by 5%, piercing damage by 5%, slashing armor penetration by 5%, piercing armor penetration by 5%. Upon entering melee, Oathbreaker, increased damage dealt by 50% and reduced damage taken by 50%. Has a 1 minute cooldown. As we've just demonstrated in the training room, these guys are terrible in combat. I can't see this line being viable at all. Let's see what else we've got. Defense, 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 health, movement. Healing is reduced by 10 second cooldown. Increases maximum health by 15% for the skill duration. That sounds useful. 2 more personnel to the unit. That sounds amazing. So they're a total of level 18. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. One or the other. You can't have both. Melee damage reduction. Whoops. Blinding smoke cooldown. Resistance to ranged. Increase the range of the throw. No longer affected by rain or snow. Area of effect is increased by 20%. I'd say this probably, in the ideal world, is going to be a very good one. We'll have to see how good the smoke is in practice. So imagine if you want to go healing line, go this one. And if you want to go smoke line, go this one. That's my first impressions. Let's see how we get on. Alright, now let's move along to some of the new shiny stuff that we're going to get in the season. So let's look at the cosmetics. This is the level 100 armor. The hat up here is actually not an item that you get in the book. It's actually, the battle pass. It's actually something you get separately, and you can buy it here in the seasonal store. The other things you can buy this season are some of the Tyranny season, I think. I think that was the Tyranny one. And you get some of the other nice stuff from a little bit back as well, the Frosty Boys there. But something that you might want to particularly look at is this one here. It looks terrible on cavalry, but on heavy infantry it looks brilliant. Put that on your palace guard for maximum cool factor. We'll have a quick flick through this season's weapon skins. I reckon if you put a Storm Bolter on top of this, you could be a Custodes. Oh, look at that. It just goes so well with the knightly season, doesn't it? Really quite pretty. Got your Giant Axe. Here's your Poking Stick. Here's your letter opener. Here's another pointy stick. This is actually quite beautiful. The musket of the King's Guard. Very, very nice actually. That's probably the standout one of the season, other than the longsword, obviously being a night season. Here's your longbow. It's a chonky boy. Here's your short bow. It's a less chonky boy. Here's your butter knives and your noob maul. Check it out. This is the unit skin as well. This is the unit skin on a unit of monastic knights. But I actually think this would look very beautiful on the claymores. What do you think? Like these big hulking knights with two-handed swords would be rather sexy, I think. And here is the level 70 battle pass horse attire. So, just to go on to that battle pass, let's have a quick flick back to here. The battle pass works the same as every other season. You're going to get this. This is the free one that you get with the battle pass. It's very beautiful, and the female version is even sexier. Check my channel community page to have a look at them all. There are some banners and some logos here. Those don't really turn my crank. This one does though. This is if you're feeling very Daenerys today, you can bend the knee. And that is one of my favourite things actually. Some of the other stuff you're going to get here at 50. You're going to get that unit skin that we talked about earlier. This at level 70, you're going to get this beautiful horsey attire, and you're going to get the box that will allow you to choose any of the weapon skins. Over here at level 85, you get this banner waving thing. Looks pretty cool if you like looking cool, but it looks quite clunky as well. You wouldn't want to be doing that in battle, you'd be shot pretty quick. And there is the level 100 armor, and it is beautiful. And again, the female version looks even better than the male version. If you want to have a look at those, you can jump over to the community tab of the channel. Paragon of Valor. If you get to level 300 because, I don't know, you're in lockdown or something like that. All of the weekly challenges, all the same. Seasonal challenges, all the same. We don't have access to the Chevaliers yet, so I've got no information on those. Apparently the unit is not ready. Campaigns are all the same. Seasonal runes. Now this is what I want to talk to you about, because they're rather different to the last seasons. One thing I've noticed when putting all these together is that there's not as many number 1 power runes that you'll want to use. The helmet's not probably a great example. Something like boots would be great. Whoops. I found that it's often good to put a 2 power and a 1 power on this season, where I've been using multiple 1 powers in the previous season. But again, that is up to your personal tastes. We'll go have a look at all runes now. I'll just have a quick flick through them. There are a couple of standout ones I want to draw your attention to. I won't waste any time though, but if you want to see more about these, do hit the pause key and you can read them better. This one here I want to talk about. We've had this in previous seasons and it was god awful. We had a mini muskets around throwing triple bombs everywhere, and it was just ridiculous. We've brought that up. I don't know if you actually saw the PTR live, but we brought up how dreadful this was to play with in the game, and it had a huge detrimental effect because you get such quick cooldowns, and a group of 3 or 4 muskets will just hold your entire advance up consistently. They said that they've taken steps to avoid that. I don't know, man, but I do know that some of the musket skills have had a nerf, e.g. the bomb certainly has, and the caltrops have had a bit of a nerf in the intervening time as well, so let's hope that that doesn't impact the game like it did last time. As I say, I won't skip over them because I don't play any of these weapons reliably other than longsword, so I can advise you all about longsword, but if you want to know about spear, you'd best make up your own mind on what these runes are going to mean for you. The longsword one I also want to draw your attention to. This is one we used to get very, very briefly, but haven't for a while. This one we've had all the way through, and it's a very good skill. But if you've never used this one here, I strongly recommend you to try it because it's amazing. You can trigger Clash of Shields and go into the front of a unit of charging cavalry, for example, including Keshigs probably. They weren't buffed last time we had them, but certainly all of the hussars and the armigers, you can just face charge them with Clash of Shields and not die. Knock them all out of their charge. And you can even go into the front of a Uniforta Brachios with this rune. So if you haven't used it before, I strongly recommend you give it a go. It's certainly the one I'll be using. And here we go. We'll just quick flick through here. There was nothing else that really stood out to me as being, you know, unusual or overpowered or certainly these runes are getting more refined over time. I'll certainly say that about it. But this will give you some idea anyway. You can have a little quick look before you get into the season next week. Fun, fun, fun. Right, hopefully that wasn't too dull. Okay, something I just want to show you real quick. If you go to settings, you can actually now change the color of your units. So if you're like me and you hate that yellow color of your own units and hate how that stands out, well, now you can have purple or brown or gray. And you can also change the color of your default friendly units, and you can also have pink enemies, which of course is the best kind of enemies. So that's a cool new change. I liked it. Moving on. So, there we have it, boys and girls. There's the preview of Season 11, Quick, Fast and in a Hurry. The only real unit we had that was kind of playable and exciting at the moment is the Banner Knights. I'd love to show you the Chevaliers. Unfortunately, we can't. And the Alchemist being a support unit. There's really nothing I can show you that is representative of the large-scale battles that we see in Siege and all that sort of carry on. So for now, boys and girls, I hope you learned something new or you just enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for coming to my channel.